So, hey everyone, welcome back to another interview with 1Studio. We've got Dave and Daniel here from UpInTheAir Theater, and they're the creators of the Revolver Festival, which is aimed at emerging artists. It was an amazing festival. I came to see it. This is not a promotional video because that already happened. But what I'm interested in, what I would like to ask you guys, is a little bit about the theater, about UpInTheAir Theater, and a little bit about the festival, just to get an idea of what it's all about, how these things are created, and what the whole idea behind it is, what the mission statement is, and why you're driven to do it. So, my first question, UpInTheAir Theater. Mm-hmm. When did you guys start, and what made you decide, and what does it do?
Dave?
Well, I mean, we got started a long time ago. Daniel and I were in this...
1999.
99, yeah. We were in this one-shot movie, which was being filmed at a restaurant after hours in North Van. And I just finished university. Dan, and were you in the program at that point, or you'd finished?
No.
Yeah, you'd finished. We both finished, and Dan wanted to be an independent movie star. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a theater artist. We kind of came together. We used to go to rehearsals together. And we just had an interesting story that was about Dan wanting to burn down a place where he and his girlfriend had spent time because they were no longer together. So we created a show which toured the Fringe and was pretty successful, but we realized that the Fringe wasn't really going to do what we wanted to do, which was to actually have an effect on the theater scene in Vancouver. So we formed UpInTheAir, and then it grew and grew and grew, and then we started the Walking Fish Festival, which was an emerging artists short form performance series, which was designed to give disparate groups of different training institutes and artistic practices an opportunity to kind of coexist and work together to create short plays. And then that kind of grew and grew and grew, and our mandate changed over time until eventually we became Neanderthal Arts, which was what Revolver began as, but we rebranded it a few years ago because the name didn't really serve the work.
Well, refashioned. I think that the changes were much more significant than just rebranding.
Yeah, I mean, we changed the name and
the dates, and we Neanderthal was a partnership between us and another company called Left Right Minds, which was super productive for the 3 years we did it, and we were going in different directions than them, so it was sort of an amicable parting.
Yeah.
And we took what we were really interested in, but from Neanderthal, and focused that into Revolver, which hopefully will be the last festival
name
we ever launch.
Well, you mean you're not going to do Revolver again?
No. We'll keep doing Revolver, but we've done Walking Fish and Neanderthal and Revolver.
We're hoping that's the end.
You want to stick with the name?
We want to stick with Revolver.
Not just the name, but also what it's about. Because, Revolver is about giving young, emerging professionals opportunities for presentation. So we give these companies and young artists opportunities that they would not have. They get a performance guarantee. They get to come in. They get to work at the Culture. But those shows are usually a little bit more formed than what we were working with in the past. Mm-hmm. We've taken a couple of risks on shows that weren't quite as established, and some of them worked out, some of them didn't work out as well, like for the box office or for people coming to seeing or actually marketing or actually helping those artists necessarily promote their work. Mm-hmm. So now we try to find a balance between the sort of brand new shows and then things that are kind of a little bit farther in their development, so that programming is balanced. And then
it's everything from sort of brand new development through to tour ready work. Yeah. That's looking for a launching pad to sort of get out there and start traveling the country.
Well, why did you decide to work with emerging artists? Why did you decide to create a festival specifically for emerging artists, to give them these opportunities?
It's totally selfish.
I think that, I wouldn't say it's selfish. I think so. I would say that Dave graduated from UVic, and I came from the William Davis Center, and so we both came into the Vancouver theater scene sort of as outsiders. That we had no mentors. There was nobody who really cared about us or our work, and we, I think, really felt the lack of support or lack of interest from the more established community, and we wanted to give. To make sure that other young artists didn't have that. There was a place where young artists could come to be supported, to meet other artists, to become part of a community and part of something bigger. And that's why we started Walking Fish. And I think that that's the values that are still there as part of Revolver, is about really trying to. I mean, it's a really difficult phase. That period between graduating and being like a professional artist can take a long time. It can take 10 years. It can take 15 years.
25 years.
So many people drop off, and a lot of the reason they drop off, I think, is because they don't have the support or the mentorship or the engagement with a bigger community. And so we're trying to provide that so that people are supported through that part of their career.
To clarify, the reason why I say selfish is that when we came out of our training institutions, there was nothing for us. Like, we looked around and if we could get a job at one of the fringe. There was the fringe, but it was like, could we get a job with one of the main regional theaters? Could we travel to Toronto and leave entirely? So we looked around and we thought to ourselves, we want to do something. We want to make it. So we didn't, as Dan said, want to leave those people without opportunities. So it served us because we could relate, but then also it grew and grew and grew and became more important. So, it was a personal thing at the very beginning, and then as the issue kind of became more prevalent about how much emerging artists need that support, with a lack of funding opportunities, lack of presenting opportunities, touring opportunities, all those things. Cost of venue, yeah. So we started saying, well, this is what we've been doing for so long. Let's just make it happen more and more. So it was an interesting genesis for sure.
Yeah. So another question. What are you looking for in terms of emerging artists? I mean, obviously you have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
You can't take everyone in. What are you looking for in a performance, in a particular production, or in a particular artist in order to work with them?
So I think we have really broad definitions. I think in terms of the artist, what we're really looking for is a commitment to professional practice. So with Walking Fish was like a playground for anybody, right? Yeah. So lots of new grads, people who had other careers but wanted to, anybody who was kind of interesting was welcome to come in and play. Revolver is really focused on people who are working towards professional careers in the arts. So what we're trying to do is our hope is that anybody that's in the festival is going to be somebody who is working professionally, who is part of the Canadian professional theatre community years down the road, in terms of the artist, right?
Yeah, and I think in an ideal world, an artist would kind of outgrow it, right? They would become so established that other companies, other production forces would be actually presenting them in other centers and other places, and then they would no longer actually need Revolver. Yeah. We want to be kind of like a stepping stone, or we image like a revolving door. You stepped into that door and you kind of keep moving in that circle until you actually can pass through into the other side. So that is really what we're kind of hoping that the artists, it's Revolver, right?
Yeah.
And we're kind of hoping that those are the artists that we're going to draw. But we also will take on really risky new projects if the artist has either a proven track record, shows us that they have like a long-term view, or they're just bringing something really interesting to bear, and we think that it's important for audiences to see that as well. Yeah. So,
and I would say, it's because you also asked about the art, that again we're looking for stuff that is where artists are kind of pushing their boundaries, or pushing the boundaries of the form. People who have interesting ideas about what you can do in the theater. Right, we're always looking for outdoor stuff and roving stuff and stuff that happens outside, like we have the traditional theater spaces, but we're always trying to find really cool stuff that we can build around those traditional theater spaces as well. It sucks trying to define things negatively, but on a certain level, like, we don't really do traditional family drama in a living room. This plays. Is a living room, and these are the people, and they're fighting in their living room.
Yeah.
But if it was written in verse,
right? Or there was some sort of strange physical aspect to the show,
or the grandparents came back from the dead, or something. Then we might look at family drama.
But we would still accept applications, and I think it's really important that you know that for us, the application process is key. We believe very much in an open process, so anybody can apply if they have a project, and they can bring it to us, and we will consider it. And then we will consider it in relationship to all the other submissions. Because at the end of the day, then I have to program with our associate producer what the festival is going to look like. So if it was all one-person shows, then we would not necessarily be representing the slice of the theatrical practice that we want to bring to Vancouver. So we encourage the submissions, and we really think that that's an important part of it as well.
Looking for variety and diversity.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, producing a festival, multiple shows, all this stuff going on, it's a really difficult beast to handle, right? So my last question for you guys is, what has been your biggest challenge, production-wise, with Revolver?
Such an obvious question.
Yeah. It's always about getting enough money.
But I think that also relates down to manpower.
Yeah. So for us, I mean, we just added a third. We had, under a BC Arts Council grant, we had a third staff person this year for the first time. It was a paid position that we got a grant to bring a young woman on in a mentorship position, and it enabled us to do so much more with the festival in terms of our outreach and free stuff for audiences and mentorship for the artists. And the big realization was that around capacity, that there's only so much that the two of us can achieve. If it's just the two of us doing it, it's not going to grow. You know, you need human resources. You need to have people that are working, that are dedicated. You need paid staff, because you can't just keep relying on volunteers. And that is the biggest thing for growth. If you want to keep growing and you want to keep expanding and you want to keep making the thing better.
It's important to note that Dan and I worked almost volunteer for about a decade. So we put our heart and our soul into the company.
10 to 12 years.
Yeah, 10 to 12 years. So, but now that the company is professionalized to such a degree, we don't feel comfortable bringing on people and asking them to make that commitment. We're the founders, and that's why it's important that we did that. But even as it's growing, we need more resources. We need more people. And that's ultimately the number one issue. So without the funding or the support from the community and sponsorship, fundraising, private donations, then not only can the company not build, but the festival won't be able to build, and we won't be able to provide more opportunities for artists. And I mean, really, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, which is an unfortunate answer.
Yeah, it's
you want it, but I think that almost any nonprofit group and almost any theater company, in the end, they might say it's about organization. But in the end, really, we work in an under-resourced sector, and everybody's under-resourced. Nobody, the cult is under-resourced for what they do. The opera, which just had to, go from a season to a 2-week festival, is under-resourced. So everybody's under-resourced, right? Yeah. And it's hopefully you're not under-resourced. 30% you're under-resourced. 10
it is
15.
Really important to also point out that the funders that we have, Canadian Heritage and the City of Vancouver and the province, they're on board because they recognize that these companies that we're supporting, they need help. So they can help them by helping us. And that is a working relationship that we have with these people. So it's a really, really key relationship, and that we are providing opportunity in an environment where those opportunities are very limited. And so although we would like more money and we're working to get more support from the community, it's actually happening because that need is viewed, and they see that we're filling that niche. So I think hats off to the people who are supporting us, and we really appreciate all the support they do give us.
Yes, absolutely.
No doubt.
Cool. I know one last thing. Is there any funny story that you can remember that took place during the festival, during the production process?
This year?
During the actual
any
run?
year?
This year.
There's a lot of funny
stories, but this year?
What sticks out? First thing.
What sticks out for me is when we had our first night of storytelling with Riel Han. There was a art opening that took place
at the
Cultch, which was out of our control because they booked it out. And this was, in the Cultch's estimation, the most party central art opening they've ever had in their history. So we had
this intimate storytelling thing going on in the Founders Lounge, which has no doors.
30 people, very small, tight quarters, microphone, but not a lot of tech, very, very intimate is the right word. And there's this one woman who is just hammered. And she is looking for her husband. Walking back and forth.
Can? We're like, she's sticking her head into the storytelling room. We're like, lady, your husband is not in there. And if he is, He's hiding.
Yeah. But it was on lockdown from then
She
on.
kept getting fine. Like, she came down the corridor like 5 times looking for him, and we're like, if you would please go back into the art opening and stop yelling your husband.
And the art was all like a little bit erotic, risque. There was a bunch of
cool,
it was a cool art, very
yeah.
cool art. But I think that the art kind of told the story of who those people were. And also, they made more money on the bar there that they did. I think on the entire festival, they sold so much liquor at the venue.
That's how art openings work.
No, that's a planning thing for us next year. Find out when the art opening is, and don't have a quiet, intimate event.
I have one more story I'll tell too, which is great. So there's a really, really great show called The Stranger. I don't know if you heard about it, but it was a roving show for one person. It was an interaction, and you kind of got taken by one person and then kind of shepherded to another, and they would take you through a walk through the city. You got into someone's car. It was a really great show. But what happened is that there was this one old acting student, Diane Larson.
This is about the story that happened to me?
No, I'm talking about Jake.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was with him.
You were with him?
Yeah, that was me.
I didn't realize it was you were with him when it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then tell the story.
Yeah. So he was playing like a sketchy paranoid guy.
All in black.
And he's all dressed in black, and he walks you from Commercial Drive up to Victoria, and he's like, watch out, they're following us, all of this. And so I join him, and you're playing the thing, you're like, okay, all right, sketchy, we're doing. And all of a sudden, this big bearded ponytail hippie guy comes by and he's like, you better not be pushing anything on our street, man, because I have my eye on you and I am watching you and I am going to come back and kick your ass if you're still here. And Jake, who is a young actor and a really determined guy, but is just like, I can see he's just like, stay in it. So at that point, I became like the shepherd of him up there. Like, okay, Jake, let's stay in it. Let's keep going. And then we got to the top of the hill. I said goodbye to him. I pull out my phone and I'm like, texting the director, better get to Jake right now, angry hippie threatening on the street corner.
And it's very funny because if you think about it, because the show ran continuously, he was standing there for literally days.
On that corner.
This guy had been watching him for a long time.
Yeah.
It was very, very funny.
That is pretty funny.
Funny, but also a little bit sketchy. Like, we were a little bit worried, and so we made sure that there was a volunteer on the street for the entire rest of the run, like shadowing Jake, so that if anything happened, they could step in.
Like I said, this is an actor. Don't punch him in the face.
Well, and you couldn't tell because he just looked like a guy standing there, which was the reason for the show.
And they went to the businesses on the street and were like, just so you know, that kid is that's an actor, not a drug dealer. Don't worry, nothing. This is theater happening on your block, not.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think that's it for today. Thank you everybody for watching.
Thank
this
you.
has been Dave and Daniel.
He got it right twice.
That's unusual.
That doesn't happen?
No, it's usually...
Usually you would have messed it up at least once.
Yeah. I do try.
Great, thank you, Eugene.
And emerging artists out there, hit these guys up. Revolver is happening next year as well.
Yeah.
May
so
2016.
plenty of time to get in touch with these guys. Prepare your stuff. Stay committed to being professional. And we'll see you all again soon.
Revolverfestival.ca, and the application process is starting in about a month. So get your stuff in, guys.